let's go ahead and get started. Talk a little bit about yourself and how did your music career got started.
My music career got started with a group named Caution back in the day. That Ice Cube put out under his first record label that he started called Lynch Mob Records. Caution, we dropped the album on Lynch Mob Records that done fairly well all over the country, but in Western regions it done extremely well, and that's basically how I got my start.
And considering you grew up on the West Coast, what was that like listening to the music of Death Row, the Tupacs, and Dr. Dre and N.W.A.? What was that like?
Well, NWA, I mean, was definitely a game changer just because it changed music in general, just not music on the West Coast. It just changed everything in general. So that was like a big influence in my upbringing and growing up, and that shit still, I mean, it still plays a big role in how I record music, how I look at music, and what I would define to be cutting edge music is always easy to gauge if you are an NWA fan. I think you have like real strong views in hip hop and just look at things completely different from a real aspect opposed to a entertainment aspect. And then as far as Death Row, Suge Knight and his daughter's mother, Sharitha Knight, they started a management company called Nightlife Management back in the day that managed all of Death Row artists. And the only artists that weren't on Nightlife was Caution and DJ Quick. So the whole Death Row thing, I was kind of like, not kind of, but around when that was all going down. Every time they were going on tour, Caution was always booked with them. So I kind of experienced that whole experience from personally, from a front seat.
Oh, absolutely. You talk about the artists who paved the way. You talk about those guys who, at that time, I guess it took people a time to embrace hip hop, and they caught a lot of flack for what they say, but at what it all boils down to, they were just speaking what they went through, what they go through. I mean, not every form of music is going to be PG or whatever. I guess what I'm saying is, uh, they had enough courage to speak through their music and how they feel about issues and what they go through in their upbringing.
Exactly. Exactly. Which some people, most people, that's not like seeing it firsthand, living in South Central per se, or somewhere that they can relate to, that reminds them of the atmosphere that NWA or the Death Row Cats or ourselves or anybody in gangster rap for that matter, which they would call it gangster rap, is just basically it's a shock value. They only see that type of stuff on horror movies and movies, but it's right outside of our front door. So it was like a shock value everywhere in the world to hear young black people describing, well, not even, it was big, young black people, Latino people, Asian people, what have you, growing up in the ghetto that could explain it and be so detailed about it. It was a still today it's a shock value that they still can't get over it because we're telling the truth, and that's when they start cringing because when you come and tell the truth, that means people in power somewhere ain't doing their job, so they don't really like to hear the truth.
You know what they say, truth does hurt, but someone has to do it. Someone has to speak up on the matter, and if it ain't gonna be artists of other genres, why not be hip hop? You know. uh,
Exactly. I agree.
so, how would you best describe your music?
Um, I would best describe my music as heartfelt because I never go in and do a song unless it's something that I've been through, I've seen, or I'm trying to avoid. I'm just a realist, so all the music that I do is kind of through experience. So people often refer to it as real life music because that's really all I refer to is things that I've been through or things that I can relate to or things that I can actually give an opinion on and know what I'm talking about.
And do you have any recent music that you've put out that you'd like to promote?
Um, Actually, yeah, man, I just put out a mixtape called Liquid for free download. I rarely put out stuff for free download, but music is changing, and you got to get with the times. You know what I mean? So I put out a mixtape called entitled Liquid. They could pick that up on datpiff.com. It's sponsored on there, so it doesn't require a login, or you don't have to be a user. You can go on there and stream it, or download it for free, absolutely free. Datpiff.com, and when you get on there, just search Gonzoe, Gonzoe. I also just dropped an album entitled The Dispensary in April, on April 20th. That's doing really well. They could check that out on iTunes, the Google Play Store, or anywhere they sell music online. Just go ahead and search Gonzoe, and all my albums will come up, or singles or whatever, ringtones, whatever. Just search Gonzoe, and catalog is pretty big, so you'll have a selection there to pick through to, see what you like.
You know, artists have meanings behind their nicknames or stage names. Before I pressed the record button, you told me that your name is pronounced like the Muppet character Gonzo. Um,
Right.
what made you name yourself Gonzo?
Well, Kenny, my name been Gonzo before rap. Like, I grew up on the block that, there was a lot of kids on the block that are the same age, and 95% of them were boys. You know what I mean? It was like 15 to 20 boys on the block that was all the same age, went to the same school, so we all like grew up together. You know what I mean? And when you were young, your friends, they make fun of you, and everybody get a nickname that they don't like, right?
Yeah.
Well, just because my nose was, they would say a little bigger than everybody, they start calling me Big Nose, Gonzo, and all that. But, the first chance and opportunity I got to make the shit famous, I did. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those things is you taking one of your flaws and embracing it and making it one of your most beautiful attributes. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that's how I became Gonzo. It wasn't me trying. I'm not admiring the character. It's not like homage to the character or nothing like that. It was just something that cats have been calling me as on the derogatory tip since I was a kid, and I was just to the point where it didn't bother me. You know what I mean? So I stuck with it.
So basically, it ended up being a blessing of disguise, and you stuck with it, and I mean, look at you now. I mean, you're doing big things, and nobody can laugh at you now. That's for damn sure.
I appreciate that. Absolutely, absolutely,
you
absolutely.
you being a rap artist from the West Coast, you know how big the West Coast was. You know, back in the NWA and the Death Row days, and nowadays all the attention of hip hop has focused on the East Coast and down south. Couple of artists have come in and out, since the NWA and Death Row. You got artists like The Game. Then you have Kendrick Lamar. I mean, what's your
Yep.
thoughts? What's your thoughts on West Coast what WAP as it stands right now?
Well, you can't win every fight. You know what I mean? It's all you're not gonna win every time. What counts is how many times you come and stand up and rumble. You know what I mean? And it's our time. You know what I mean? We won for a whole lot of years, and everybody gets their turn. So I ain't bitter about it at all. You know, it's enough money for everybody. Everybody can eat. Everybody get their turn, and I really don't want to make it a situation of the East got it, the West got it. You know, we made that mistake before, and look what we got with the East Coast, West Coast beef. So my whole philosophy is it's enough money for everybody. You know, when we was getting money, they wasn't complaining. You know what I mean? It's their turn. So you got to get in where you fit in, and, you know, real artists going to adapt. And that's as simple as that. You know, you got to adapt. Period.
You know, hip hop as a collective whole has definitely come a long way since that Tupac and Big feud. And it's good to see that there's no more East Coast versus West Coast type of thing. It's like most of hip hop artists are getting together, collaborating, business, endorsement deals. It's just good to see that hip hop as a whole is united a lot more than it once was. So at least we got that going for us as a hip hop fan. You being an artist, and I'm happy to see Kendrick Lamar get his opportunity. I think he's the next big artist of the West Coast to shine. He is mentored by Dr. Dre, and of course Dr. Dre mentors Snoop. Look where his career is at. So West Coast it's definitely getting the buzz back, at least through Kendrick Lamar. It's just a matter of wait and see.
Yep, I mean, I agree. The kid's doing this thing. I said that before in a couple of interviews. I respect the movement. And, you know, just because it is a nice thing to have Dr. Dre behind you, but it's not the whole kit and caboodle. You know what I mean? Like, you still got to work. It's a couple of cats that been on Aftermath that slipped through the cracks. So it's not just all about getting a Dr. Dre endorsement, because, you know, that dude, you're going to work over there. It's not what people think. It's not just like, oh, I'm with Dre, it's all good. Like, you know, it's about outworking the next man. Everybody should take that approach. And, you know, you got to give respect and credit where credit is due, straight up, you know.
And let me ask you this: other than the whole West Coast and East Coast thing, what's your take on hip hop as it is, as it pertains to radio play and social media and other aspects that's going on? What's your take on hip hop as a collective whole, the direction that it's going?
Well, I mean, a few years ago, man, hip hop was, you know, going in a really bad direction. You know what I mean? As far as financially, you know what I mean? Like, especially on the West Coast. So, once again, you know, I go back to you gotta adapt. Right now, it's a lot of cats that's griping because the game ain't for them. You know, it's the kids, they're wearing the skinny jeans and this, that, and the third, or whatever, you know what I mean? To where it's like some people are being alienated and griping about it. But hip-hop is like, it's so many different things in so many different ways and so many different things that's all wrapped into one. It's no reason to worry about what Lil Wayne is doing, or it's no reason to worry about what this cat is doing. Like, it's enough money for everybody. It's ears out here that are listening to all of us. People just, you know, Drake could be selling the most records, or this person could be selling the most records, or this person could be getting the most streams, but, you know, the biggest Lil Wayne fan in the world just can't listen to Lil Wayne all day. You know what I mean? So it's really not about the he say, she say, and, you know, my music is better than this guy. With me, it's kind of like a golf course. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on the golf course. I'm done with worrying about what this guy is doing or this guy is doing. I'm just playing my game. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get the best score that I can get on my scorecard. And if I, you know, end up on the leaderboard at the end of the day, you know what I mean, cash me out. But I'm trying to beat my best score. You know what I mean? And that seems to be working for me. You know, and that's really all I'm really worried about, Ken.
You going for the hole in one, basically. I see you using the golf analogy. That's interesting.
You caught that. See, you caught that.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what any golfer would definitely want is, I mean, is to get the best shot as they can, but get a hole in one definitely helps. You know, moves you up in the scoreboard. So why don't you go ahead and you already mentioned a couple of links earlier. Why don't you go ahead and promote some more of your social media links, how people can get in touch with you, Facebook, Twitter, any other links people need to know?
Yo, on the Twitter, man, I'm on my Twitter all day, so that's like the best way to get in contact with me. You know what I mean, and interact with me, and it's Twitter /Gonzoe. I mean, excuse me, scratch that. It's Twitter /I'm Gonzoe. IMGONZOE. You know, I'm Gonzoe. IMGONZOE. Same with the Facebook. I'm Gonzoe on the Facebook too. You know what I mean? So that's basically. I don't do the MySpace no more. I'm not dissing them. You know, I'm damn near finna stop doing the Facebook thing because, you know, it's just, you know, once I don't want to give up too much of my strategies over here, but it's like, you know, the new shit is basically you got to do what works for you. Like, just because Facebook works good for one guy, it might be terrible for another guy. You know what I mean? And some other cats might be, you know, getting 10 verse licks a day off Twitter, and, you know, other cat might still be working MySpace. So I don't know what works for you, but the whole thing is social media. You know what I mean? And find out where your fans is at. Where you know, forget the other cats. Who's listening to your music? I don't care if it's 5 dudes. Take those 5 dudes and make it 10. Make that 10, 20 and grind it out. That's hip hop. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it's really not about trying to swing for the fence every time. It's about really building your catalog and building a brand and a foundation that people can trust and know every time you put something out, it's going to be quality. And even if they don't like it, it's just going to be, you know, a form of taste. It'll never be a form of quality. You know what I mean? And that's really where it's at.
What do you like the most of being a recording artist? Do you like being in the studio, making songs, performing? What do you like the most of being a recording artist?
I like being in the studio, man. I like expressing myself. I'm like a person that, you know, I got a lot of views on things, you know what I mean? And instead of just being a nigga in the room just talking about everything, feel me, you could just say that shit on the CD and motherfuckers gonna play that shit in every fucking hood just like they used to back in the days, like a Martin Luther King speech, you know what I mean? It's like crazy. If cats really knew the power that they had and paid attention to it, you know what I mean? You know, you could put messages in your music to really get your point across and have people thinking as you think, or, you know, opposing what you think. But if you're right and they say, damn, he's right, then look, you got another person on your hype, you feel me? So the whole thing is just not abusing your power, you know. You got the whole, they say the whole Illuminati thing going down, and all that shit is absolutely true. it is, it's true. And it really ain't what people thinking, you know what I mean? It ain't really nothing to be scared about, you feel me? It ain't for everybody, because everybody ain't busting them type of moves, you feel me? That shit is about busting moves and elevating your game, you feel me? And just being on some other shit immediately. But it ain't for everybody, you feel me? You can't find it, it finds you. And that's what it really is. This shit is like really changing, my guy, on some other shit, to where it's really, about forward thinking. People thinking the world is about to end and shit. That's not what that calendar is saying. It's just going into a different age. Celestial pattern is changing into the age of Aquarius. It's going into a different age. So, the whole mindset is changing to where, some people are still thinking on this old shit like our ancestors was thinking, like they were trained to thought, when they were training people to be slaves. So everything they told them was to make them submissive and, basically to not give them no problems and to praise them, and everything, was put in front of them was put on a pedestal that looked like them to praise them, you feel me, and to put fear into their heart. And that's basically how people live today, and they call that living safe. And, the shit that I'm talking right now, they would call me a rebelizer. Why? Because you're trained from school. They send you to school to be a good worker. You go to elementary school, junior high school, college. What are they doing? You get a degree to learn how to do what? Fit in the corporate America to do what? Build their fucking economy. To do what? Forever just work for them and, retire. But that's not a life. That's not living. You feel me? That's like, them figured out a way how to continue slavery and brainwash people in a whole. You feel me? So it's like, say if you see 1,000 people walking this way and one person walking the opposite direction, how many people you think gonna say, hey, you're going the wrong way? Well, it's just people conform, man, and that's the same in hip-hop. It's a popularity contest. A lot of cats aren't really dope, but they figure out how to get people to conform, and next thing you know, they hot.
Everyone, check out Gonzoe, his mixtape, thatpit.com, his album on iTunes, Google Play, various websites. And guess my last question is, what would your advice be to anyone that wants to pursue this as a career, that wants to pursue whether it's hip-hop or any other form of music, being a recording artist, basically? What would your advice be?
You be a realist, you know what I mean? Just be a realist and never get emotional with this shit. And also, most of all, this shit is not about doing one song that you think is hot. It's about being obsessive of outworking the next man. You gotta obsess with the shit. Motherfuckers around you gotta say you're crazy. You've been in the studio for weeks. I mean, you gotta do some crazy shit, and outwork the next man. That's what it's about. Period. However you're gonna do it, you better do it, because that's how you get your buzz. You know what I mean? You keep on hitting their ass with flames. Videos, songs. You keep flooding them with content. You know what I mean? Even if you whack as hell, you keep flooding them with content, what are they going to do? Conform. That's human nature. You just got to keep, flooding their ass, hitting them. They'll conform, because that's human nature. That's what we've been programmed to do. Now, us that's forward thinking, they call niggas devils and devil worshippers, and Oprah, Jay-Z, no. Bill Cosby, everybody that they say is no. It's just that, they can't tell us to just go to church every Sunday and put money in the bucket and everything gonna be all right. That's crazy talk. Not that this, that my grandmother was raised to do that, but the reality was she had a hell of a good job. Retirement, all that. Died with nothing. Worked 40-some years for the government, post office, supervisor. Got all the benefits. So, moral of the story is, don't be a fucking cow. Be a rancher. Be the motherfucker holding the ropes. Don't be the cow. Just, happy because you got grass to graze on. It's like time to, flip the game. And that shit is scary for most people. They don't like change. They just want to hear Obama say change. But since he's been in office, ain't none of these motherfuckers changed. They ain't done nothing. They kept doing what they was doing. That was the opportunity. You know what I mean? But it's just little shit like that you hit motherfuckers with it, they will not understand. It's actually probably going to be more motherfuckers that argue with me for saying it because they couldn't understand. How could you say that? That's so inappropriate. Because they just can't figure to, adjust their brain to, fuck with this reality. And they know it's right, but it's just too big of a change. They can't make that quantum leap. So, they'll rather, point their fingers and say, this dude, he's this, he's that, he's this. Basically outcast you. But yeah, man, we can say that for the next interview.
All right, and Gonzo, I want to take this time and say thank you for joining me. Thank you for your passionate and just keep doing what you do, man. You're a very intelligent cat, and there's not a whole lot of music artists that has that intelligence and wisdom and whatnot. Look at the big picture. So I appreciate you being on and doing this interview. And again, thank you for your time, sir.
Man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And any time, man, I enjoyed the conversation. And y'all, a book ain't all, it ain't always what you think. People probably shocked, like, damn, listen to his music. Yeah, man, it's all good. Fuck with me, man. Gonzoe. Reppin' Los Angeles, baby. Dodger that.
Thank you, everyone, for... go ahead.
All right, Ken. I was just about to say peace, man.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. This will conclude the interview. And you can listen to this and many more on chillinbroadcasting.com. And follow Gonzoe on Twitter at I'm Gonzoe. That's IMGONZOE. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This will conclude the interview.